how radical was Trotsky in his ideology? And was that part of the problem that you just mentioned in terms of garnering support within the party, or was it more a personality issue that he had?
I don't think Trotsky's fanaticism and radicalism hindered his coming to power within the party in the early 1920s. I think that was more of a personality issue. But we also have to face this conundrum that in the early 20s, and after the Bolsheviks took power, and even after Lenin's death, Trotsky was seen as the more radical figure, and Stalin was seen as the more moderate figure. So, for example, take the issue that divided them over revolution in one country or permanent revolution. The phrase permanent revolution means, in that context, that once the Bolsheviks took power, the proletarian revolution takes place in Soviet Russia, that it requires revolutions in Europe, so there will be other countries that can come to the support of the only successful proletarian revolution in Soviet Russia. So Lenin and Trotsky both, to one degree or another, shared that belief that their revolution could not succeed on its own. But the Civil War, the revolution and then the Civil War so exhausted Russia, and there was a failure of the left to come to power in Hungary or Germany, which were seen as more advanced capitalist societies, that the idea that you could have revolution in Western Europe fizzled. It wasn't happening. So Stalin said, no, we can build socialism in one country, in our country, and not rely on this slender hope of revolution in Germany or Hungary or other countries that will then come to our aid. And this divided the Bolsheviks and the left in the Soviet Union, Soviet Russia. And so Trotsky's views were seen as more radical, more quote unquote revolutionary, more of a threat to Western Europe, whereas Stalin was seen as a more moderating figure. And you know, there's a quote in my book, I found a reference to Abe Gahan, the famous socialist editor of the Jewish Forwards in New York, who said, you know, Trotsky's too radical, Stalin's the more moderate figure, we should welcome Stalin. And of course, later Gahan renounced those statements, but that was the mood among people. And Stalin actually adopted a more radical position later in the 1920s in terms of the social revolution and collectivization. But the radical policies of Stalin were only part of what made him so sinister. The fact that he was willing to kill his opponents, on top of that, were the two major issues here.